Welcome, one and all, to Puppet Parables, a show where these three friends attempt to recount stories from movies, history, mythology, literature, and more.
I'm sure you might answer
Sit back, relax, and enjoy as we stumble our way through these tales.
Okay, so I'm going to be telling the story of From the Diary of a Violent-Tempered Man by Anton Chekhov.
It's like Diary of a Wimpy Kid.
How did you get Alex Jones' diary?
I know, it's, especially that far in the past.
I know.
Hard to get.
He's a time traveler.
Louis Mama.
Zooey Mama.
Mama!
The liberals. Continue.
Okay, so basically the story starts out with this guy, Nikolai Andreevich, and he's a student of finance, and he considers himself to be very serious, and he's out one day on his balcony, and he's writing his dissertation on the history of the dog license. He's very much like, he has his mom do stuff for him a lot. He's like, "Mommy, can you go make me a cup of coffee to drink while I'm writing?"
Yes, my dear. Of course, my dear.
But then, so he's out on his balcony writing, and then this woman walks along, and she obviously knows him, but he has no idea who she is.
Is this like you?
I know. And so he just doesn't know her name, so he just calls her random names throughout the story. So he's like, and Varenka said that she had lost her bracelet the other day and was looking for it around here. But then, so she essentially says, there's this big scary dog. Can you come with me and walk me home so I don't have to be afraid of it? And so he's like, fine. And he goes down and he walks along with her. And he's being incredibly boring, but she's like acting super over-the-top friendly to him.
Just like entranced.
Yes.
You're the most interesting man I've ever met.
I know.
You want to hear more about the history of the dog license?
Yes.
Please.
But then, as they get close to her house, she, like, blushes a ton and says, I know you love me, but for the sake of our friendship, can we just stay friends?
He's like, if I must, I guess.
And then she starts crying.
Not gonna lie.
And he's like, okay, sure. And then so they get to her house, and all her friends are there, and they're like drinking tea and eating pastries.
Eating
and stuff.
crumpets.
They're like
paste.
very fancy.
Eating paste.
Yeah, they're sniffing glue.
That's why she's like this.
Yeah. So they go out, and he's acting really, basically he's acting really autistic.
Oh my
He's like not talking to any of them. He's picking the seeds out of his fruit.
He just like me, for real.
And they're like
A
gossiping.
relatable character.
Yeah, and they're gossiping about like who likes who and stuff. He's just totally ignoring them. And then he overhears them say, "But the most attractive possible thing about a man isn't his looks, it's his intelligence." And he's like, "That's me."
I'm a man of intelligence. I know so much about the dog license.
Yeah. But then they're like, "Okay, we're gonna go out in the woods and look for mushrooms to forage." And he just like, it's like, all right, I guess I'll stay here. So he just sits around for like a couple of hours and is drawing. And then
They've been gone for a couple of hours looking for mushrooms.
Yes.
You're just sitting there.
He's not worried about them at all.
Apparently it's a super normal thing to do in Russia, which is... yeah.
There's not much else to do there.
Yeah, exactly. But so then they come back, and they decide to have a picnic. But so, him and the girl he met earlier, who he calls Natasha at this point, they go out sort of separately on their own blanket, and they're eating. And then, completely unexpectedly, there's a solar eclipse.
Oh my God.
And he's like really autistically basically explaining how solar eclipses work and how you draw them and like the science of it and stuff.
He's mansplaining.
Yeah.
Well, ladies, you see, there's a thing called the sun.
What?
Oh, my stars!
But she's-
Yes, it's one of those.
But she's like totally fawning over him and stuff. And she's like, "Oh, that's so impressive. Where did you learn all of this?" And he's like, "I guess I'm just pretty smart." And so they have this picnic, and she's really enjoying it, and he just feels like, yeah, I'm pretty great. And just she's so annoying and won't leave me alone. And so, but then as he's leaving, she says, "Oh, but make sure you come back tomorrow at 11." And so he goes home. He works more on his dissertation. Then he, what is a boring person do? He flosses, and then he goes to
The
bed.
dance. too.
Yes, he does. He TikTok dances for 4 hours. It's a very weird scene. So then he goes to bed. He wakes up the next morning, and he's like going out to work on his like paper thing. He's like, "Oh no, I have to go to that thing at 11." So he gets dressed really formal.
Yeah.
And so he shows up, and she's throwing a wedding.
Oh my.
Her parents decided that she should get married to him.
So it's his own wedding.
Yes. And so he goes through the whole ceremony. He's like, I should say no sometime soon, shouldn't I? But he's like, now isn't the time.
Now when I'm getting married isn't the time to
Yeah.
tell her that I don't want to get married.
And so they go through like the whole thing, and everyone's like celebrating and stuff, and everyone seems so happy for him. And he's like, well, I guess if I have to, I'll try to act happy. And he's just sort of just hanging out on the side and not paying attention to everyone else.
Yeah.
And so,
He's so mysterious and cool.
yeah.
He's
Then-
getting married to a woman he doesn't even know the name of.
Yeah, so yeah, he's like, well, I guess if I have to get married to Bashenka or whatever, I guess I'll just accept that as a part of my life now. And so, after the wedding, he's talking to her family, and he's like, and he basically just immediately switches to thinking of himself as like, yeah, I'm a married man, I'm at that stage of my life. So he's just going on for a bit about thinking about, yeah, I guess I'll settle down and have kids now. And he, at the very end of the story, he just goes, oh, wait a minute, I could have just said no all along. Or I could have just said I didn't want to. But it's too late for that now.
Now I'll never finish my book about the dog license.
Yeah, basically.
So sad.
Yeah, he's just like really sad at the end of it. And everybody else is like celebrating.
That's the end?
Yeah.
That's a horrible story. What a horrific story. Oh, I'm so smart. Oh, now I'm married. Okay. The end.
That's the most Russian story
It
ever.
is very Russian. Okay, bye.
And now a word from our sponsor. As a Russian cat, I often need to find caffeine in my body. And Dubby is a clean energy drink to give you focus with no crash, jitters, or angst like other energy drink. That's right. Dubby contains vitamins, amino acids, a nootropic, and 150 milligrams of caffeine to keep you going all day. So go to Dubby Energy to get 10% off your first order with coupon code PUPPETS. That's right, use all capitals PUPPETS as your discount code and you will get 10% off your first order. Thank you to Dubby for sponsoring us.